And we're live. What's up there, YouTube? I'm your homeboy, OhmBoy Josh. Welcome to another edition of Project FOG. I'm feeling a little bit lazy today. I'm lounging on the couch. My back's hurting me. I'm just chilling. And we got Robbie Vapes and we got Daryl Quest for Vape in the house today. What's going on, guys?
Good
Daryl, how
stuff.
you been?
I've been awesome, man. I can't complain. Can't complain. It's good to see you guys. I haven't seen you in a long time, and I'm just excited to be here hanging out with you guys again.
Yeah, it's been too long, Daryl. It really has.
Two of my favorite reviewers on YouTube. Two of the biggest personalities I know. So nice to see you.
Oh, shucks.
I mean that genuinely.
He's one to talk.
I actually got a pretty good story for you, Daryl, now that you're on here. So my brother just got back into vaping. He vaped for a little bit on and off back when I first started, and then he quit, and he's gotten back now, and he got a crown tank. And he was saying there's this awesome video I have to check out about the crown coils. This guy does an awesome job. He has a red shirt. That's all I had to go on. And immediately I'm like, it's got to be Daryl. Like, who else does a better job on the crown stuff than Daryl? And I'm like, oh, is it Quest for Vape? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's who it is. And I'm like, oh, I've met him before. He's like, you've met him? No way. I mean, he was just over the moon about you, and it was awesome. So you're doing a great job, Daryl, and obviously my brother appreciates it. So you got at least one good fan out there.
Oh, that's great, man. That's so validating to hear. It's awesome. You know how that whole thing started is because I got tired of listening to people giving me shit on my channel about I burnt a coil and it's your fault, and I was like, all right, and not just on YouTube, but in vape shops and stuff. And I was like, listen, here's how you got to do it. And I went painstakingly slow, and I did this long, drawn-out video, and here we are, like 90,000+ views on it. And I guess people are buying the crown tank, but that's what I had to figure out. So I wanted to share that with people. Hopefully, spare them the agony. If you could sit through 30 minutes of me breaking in one coil, you'll never have a problem with the sub-ohm tank again, any tank, because that pretty much covers it. But it was needed. So that's really validating. So that was your brother. I remember the story about, like, your brother started vaping around the same time as you, right, Robbie?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
He started a day before me, actually. He was the one who encouraged me to go out and start vaping myself, and then it's funny because he subscribed to you and he still hasn't subscribed to my channel.
He will soon, though. You gotta up your content.
Apparently, yeah.
You're never a prophet in your hometown, Robbie. Your friends and family, they can't see you. They got to see this stupid guy down in New York, and then he's good. But they don't know how awesome Robbie Vapes is.
Yeah, no, he's a big fan of yours. So yeah, I just figured I'd start the show off with that little story.
Oh shit, man! Thanks for boosting my ego and telling me about that. I needed that today.
Anytime.
Cool, man. Cool. Oh boy, I'm leaking. Hold on, I didn't bring napkins out with me. What are you guys vaping on today? Do you guys do that on this show, where you like what you're vaping on and?
What do we got? I'm vaping on the Easy tank, Easy something from Ute. It's kind of like the Griffin, honestly. It's small. You know, it's 22 millimeter tank. It's simple. And when it came, what's kind of interesting about this tank is that it comes. It's an RTA, but in the package it comes with a bunch of pre-made coils, like a ridiculous amount of pre-made coils. This thing comes with. So I'm messing around with it. It's fun. It's got good flavor. I like it so far. Today I was walking around with this Merlin from OhmVape, and I kept finding myself going toward this way more than I was going toward the Merlin. So, yeah, I mean, so far so good with both tanks. The Merlin is just a little bit tight for my liking, honestly. And even with it's got like this little reduced thing that can reduce the airflow, and I've taken that out, and I still don't like it that much. Yeah. I'm hoping it'll grow. But so far, so good with this thing. And I've got it on the other side. Yeah.
Nice. I hear you on. And then the Merlin is a bit of a tight draw, even when you take out that screw.
Yeah.
But it's a cool RDA. It's RTA. It's interesting.
It's machined really well. That's what I'm finally really happy with. I've been really disappointed with the quality from the stuff from OhmBoy up until now, but the Merlin is really, really nice, really well made. I confess that I destroyed the notch coil while I was trying to use it, and I'm really pissed about it because I was really excited to try the damn notch coil, and the fucking leads on the notch coils, they're so fragile. They're like hair. It's like working with hair, and it's so easy just to clip them. And I clip them, and I'm pissed. So I still have yet to try a notch coil, so I'm gonna have to go buy one probably. Sucks.
I got to tell you, when I got that Merlin RTA, I opened it up and I was like, oh, OhmBoy Josh is going to be very happy because they listened to him. Because I know that you like really went into detail, not in a negative bashing way, but when you were going over the Boreas and the Ilaria, and you were like, guys, you're threading. It sucks. The machining, everything else was great, and then you blew it on this. And they did listen to you because they did get the finish on that. Yeah, I haven't had much success with the notch coils as far as, and I bought a bunch of extra ones. I haven't tweaked it yet. I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm not going to say I don't like it. I just haven't found the way to get the best vape out of it. You can't blast power through that. Even though it's this big diameter coil and you want to just like crush power through it, it's still very sensitive. Believe it, like until you get one and you know, and you melt one to the deck, and then you put the next one in. 40, 50 watts at the most on those, if that. So you're saying you mechanically accidentally messed up when you were putting it in, like tore the leads?
Yeah, I basically just clipped the lead by mistake. Touch on the posts, and it just broke the friggin' leads. And it's not that, you know, the Merlin's machined great. It's machined really well. Even the post screws, the screws on it are great. You know, there's no reason it should have clipped my leads. It's just the notch coil. I think the leads are just really, really fragile.
Yeah. Overall, I'd agree. I took that out because I didn't have the best experience with it on the theorem, so I just put my own coils in on that one. I'm sorry, I'm hijacking the conversation, but I apologize.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize. It's all good.
You guys want to see something really cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool? What kind of fucking question is that? Of course I want to see something cool.
This is called the Calypso tank from Omega, and it's a 30 millimeter diameter. Wait for it. RDTA. It's like the Limitless, but bigger, and it's fucking awesome. I don't know what the juice capacity is. I didn't read.
About to ask.
It came with these pre-built 4 millimeter diameter Claptons. I can't tip it over. It's going to drip. So picture, do you guys have the Avocado 24? It's sort of like that, but this is how you fill it. There's a fill hole right there. You see that? Right? Oh, it dripped. And it doesn't have a way to close off. So, but you have juice down below. You have big-ass wicking holes, huge coils, and I upgraded my RX 200 to 250, and I was vaping this at about 220 watts, and it was keeping up, and it was very intense.
They upgraded that thing to 250 watts now?
250 watts legit. It went over 7. I was at like 8.5 volts, and it was. Maybe before the end I might I'll blast again. Very intense. I was nicking myself out at 1.5% nicotine. But yeah.
50 watts. someone's sending me an RX200S. I'm excited to play with it. Let's see.
Wismac sending you that? Nice.
What's the price on one of those, Daryl?
Supposedly,
I don't know. I think maybe 50, 60 bucks, something like that. It was sent to me for review. I just cracked it open today, and I'm loving it. I'm surprised. I was expecting it to be a big fat. It is a beast. I thought it was going to be a big festering turd, but it turns out it's not. So, Calypso.
I'm always worried when I get a 30 millimeter. I'm always worried about 30 millimeter RDAs because I'm worried they're going to be too airy. But you know, the few that I've messed around with have been pretty damn good. Gotta say.
The quality lately in some of these things is just on point. This thing, yeah, it's an experience. It just think of it like it's like an avocado, but bigger. It's like the Limitless, which I've been enjoying, but bigger.
I fucking love the avocado. What's the logo on it? I'm trying to figure it out.
It's a big like Ohm symbol. Hold on, let me get that up to the camera in focus. Let me know when it's in focus.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, it looks good.
That was sent to me by Origin Vape. You guys should get in touch with them.
Nice.
Big online wholesaler and retailer, and once in a while I can chip loose some products from them to review. Nice guys over there. I don't have affiliate links or anything like that. But yeah, really surprising. Like it overhangs the RX200. I got to find something bigger than this. I got to get myself a human fog machine, Robbie. Put this on there.
Yeah, it'll fit there nicely too.
Do you still have that in your possession?
No, I don't. No, that was just on loan for like 2 or 3 days. That's why the review is so quick. I had to give it back, unfortunately.
It's like the Smithsonian Institute will do that and lend out their art exhibit, but they need it back. Like, give me the mummy back already. You've had it too long. We need our mummy. So you had that rare art exhibit. I had an idea for what we could do with that human fog machine, by the way. I'll tell you later.
All right.
Put the UL Rafael X RDA on there. You can build. You could do a big boy build on a little tiny RDA. It's going to look like a nipple on that, but you won't have to go with a 40 or 50 millimeter diameter. Should be interesting. We'll talk later.
That could be fun.
More RDAs. I want to see more RDAs come down the pipe that use that neutral post. I love that concept. I really do. LX, but maybe I will eventually. I don't know. I want to see more people do that because it's such a cool concept.
It's a brilliant concept. Smarter than me. I'm sorry. Did you say you do not have a Rafael X RDA?
I don't. I kind of want one. I also.
Done.
I'm not crazy about the aesthetic. What?
It's not the prettiest looking RDA, that's for sure.
That's the thing,
Although, hold on. No, let me show you how you can beautify it a little bit. Let me show you. We figured some stuff out. We figured some stuff out in okay, so there's this one company that makes a nice drip tip for it. So you can pull out that anti-spit back. That's really not necessary. Some people like it, some people don't. But I have, well, it looks nicer in black with this nice drip tip on there. And then wait till you see this. Trinity glass tank top cap. This is the Goon top cap, but it fits the Rafael X RDA. That looks nice.
Oh, that's sexy.
Oh,
that's sexy. I love my Goon. I need one of those.
Josh, I got to show you these coils. If I could get them in focus. Squid Dude, who I believe is a very big fan of yours. And Squid Dude had a fella at his booth with him in Vegas named A Lot of Wire, and I just can't focus in well enough to show you. This is an alien Clapton paralleled with braided. It's like 4 or 5 strands braided, not twisted, but braided. It's a fucking beautiful Clapton build. And anyway,
That looks gorgeous, man.
so there's some really cool stuff you can do with this, and I might send this on to you directly with some other ones for you, because I want guys like you to play around with this RDA. I don't work for UL. I worked for them for one weekend in Vegas, but it's a cool concept. That neutral post is a cool concept. It needs to get out there more. And everybody who's an experienced builder that gets on it just goes, oh, wow, the possibilities. Yes. So you need a few of these in your hands. I'll hook that up for you. I think I have enough flex with UL. I could do that. I'm surprised they didn't send you a bunch.
Well, I've never reviewed anything by UL. So.
You what?
You know, I haven't reviewed anything by UL before. My wife the Crown, and my rule is if I buy my wife something, I usually don't review it because then it's like a self-serving. So if I buy my wife something, I don't review the thing I bought my wife. So I've never reviewed the Crown.
You're a very humble guy.
Billy, Billy, he sent me a Rafale to review, just a Rafale. I hated the thing so much. I mean, I don't have a problem reviewing something and then hating it. I don't. But I didn't like anything about it. Nothing. I couldn't even get. When he sent it to me, he also sent me new coils for it and fit. So it's just such a crapshoot with no redeeming qualities. I really didn't like anything about it. I didn't even like it enough to review it. So,
it didn't go over well. I think they got too wrapped up and well, put it this way, in my opinion, they gambled that the industry was going in a direction of the smoke TFV4. Big cloud-chasing tanks. And so they went to make something that beat out the TFV4. And in some ways it did. But as far as an industry and the evolution of vaping, it kind of hit a dead end. And I don't think they're really going to be... They still have them. They'll still support it. But they realized the Rafale was quite a bit of a flop. The Crown 2, though, I think takes some of the features of the nice streamlined, sleek design of it, combined with a new coil that nobody's ever seen yet, and that's coming out soon. I'm not here to defend or promote UL. If they got a good product, great, I'll talk about it. If they have a product that kind of was interesting but didn't go anywhere, yeah, that happens. And how many products have some of these companies put out that hit a dead end and they go back to the drawing board, come out with your next product 30 days later? They do try and put effort into their designs. But anyway, I'll make sure they get you out some of those Rafale X RDAs because I'm very curious to see what you come up with. You've really, from what I've seen from a year ago when I first got to know you till now, you've really just evolved as far as coil building and the Claptons and your whole workshop there. In addition to your editing skills, which, damn you, I'm jealous. I'm freaking jealous, and I want to talk to you not here on camera, but off camera about what are you doing, bro? Because like the little mini Josh with the his green screen and he's over there talking to you, just blows my mind. The creativity, that's awesome. It's like I can't stop watching. I can't stop watching your videos until like they're done and the credits are rolling, and I'm like, what did he just do? He just had an RDA rolling over on top of him, and he was like, no. And then, by the way, now that we're live, could I mention that fucking masterpiece, the baby tsunami video? If anybody in vaping has not seen that, if you're a parent, if you plan to be a parent, if you've ever heard a baby cry, you've got to watch that video. Just brilliant. All right. I'll shut up now. Sorry. Gushing over here. No, seriously, like that kind of editing work, that kind of putting that together, Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, Robbie was kind of a little bit of the inspiration for that video. The baby tsunami. The tsunami video is me talking to myself a little bit, like a split screen kind of thing going on. And I watched his video, other channel that he's trying to promote a little bit, and is one of his most recent videos. And it's the talking to Robbie from Robbie Vapes, and he did a split screen on it, and it got me thinking about what I could do with this. So Robbie was a little bit of a tsunami video.
It was a fun video to make too. Like that one was awesome. But even I can't take credit because I actually took that from someone else myself. I took that from Hazy's review of the Double Vision, where he did himself talking in 2 screens as well, and I just took it a little bit in a different direction. But I give all credit to Hazy for that one, if he's watching right now. And yeah, I can't take credit for that either. So I think the real hero here is Hazy Vapes, who's their Hazy Vapor, who's one of my personal favorite reviewers too, and just unbelievable what he does, and so funny too.
It's amazing. Hey, listen. What? Oh, go ahead.
Well, my background was in teaching originally. That's what I went to school for. I was going to be a teacher, so I never got really into it. But there's a phrase in teaching when you're pedagogy and ways to teach. The phrase is to steal shamelessly. It comes down to a lot with me and YouTube and whatever. It's, you know, when I see something that someone else does really well, I need to go try it. You know, see it how I can implement what I can do with it, and it's fun. You know, I guarantee you that Hazy, you know, it just goes down the line like that. Steal shamelessly, you know.
Hey, that's what creativity is about. You get ideas, you put them into this brain, and you see what comes out. You can't be unaffected by watching things that are creative. They get inside of you, and then they find a form of expression in your work. But it's always interesting to me to see when people put their personality into their work, and to see the sense of humor come out. And then if you can go a little bit beyond, around that corner of imagination to where you really get to the zany part of it, that's the cool stuff.
One of my introduction to Daryl, Quest for Vape, was his Vapocalypse series.
Oh shit! You watched that? Oh, I'm sorry.
That was amazing.
I made one of those. I mean, yeah. So that was what turned me on to Daryl, was his Vapocalypse series, and him calling out other reviewers to be part of the Vapocalypse series. So, yeah. And
you got to know, at the time I did that, I knew people were going to be like, this guy's either insane or he's drunk, possibly both, or he's just willing to make an ass out of himself for something that he believes in. All of the above were probably true at one point or another. Some of those videos, I had a little bit to drink to give me the courage. But
or absolute genius.
Well, that I can never say myself, because you wouldn't believe me. But you know, I get these creative bugs, and I go, well, why not? Well, what the hell is a YouTube channel for anyway? If it's not for me to go ahead and play around with stuff that I want to do to keep me interested, and that's what it's for. And back then I had like only a couple of hundred subscribers, so nobody was really, who was like going to piss off and bother anyway by doing that stuff. But that was really a pure form of me and my personality, like how I would talk to friends of mine that I goof off with. And if we were like coming up with an open architecture idea that could be duplicated, and I don't know, here's the idea, you play with it and run with it. I will say this though, it was ahead of its time with, as far as advocacy goes. I was like we were all really into it back then, and never stopped. But like okay, if I could be a clown, and then what can other people do not being a clown? Maybe I can instigate some people to just take a little bit of a step. I think I was onto the right idea with the ice bucket challenge type of thing, And I think we may, now that it's warm out, people could dump a bucket of ice over their heads, maybe we can do something like that. Perhaps not go out to our garages drunk on 4 or 5 glasses of wine and curse the whole time like I did, which is never going to be well received. But maybe we can do, taper it out. Daryl will taper it back a little bit, still be creative. By the way, there's a lot of footage on that. I actually had a friend of mine who was a professional photographer and videographer film me, and he thought I was being serious. So the vape. Sorry, man. Do you mind if I segue for a minute?
You go right ahead, brother.
The Vapocalypse was an idea story of it's the end of the world because Big Tobacco tried to create a virus that they could threaten the world. You have to smoke, otherwise you die. And then it backfired on them because the virus got out, and everybody in the world dies anyway. And the only people left surviving in the world are smokers and vapors because they had the nicotine, so the virus didn't kill them. And then now it's Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. It's The Walking Dead. It's everything you love about these post-apocalyptic movies, series stuff. And then like I made this storyline. Don't
forget Cyrus.
Yeah, and there was always Cyrus was going to come in. He was going to get killed, but then he got resurrected. It was creative, and I went off on a tangent. But I had a friend of mine come in one day, and I was like, "Listen, bro, I need a favor," and I gave him like 5 or 6 different scene ideas, and then we filmed them. But he thought I was serious, and like I wanted to make a real movie like this. And the whole it took him until about we were shooting the whole day. There's scenes of me running to my car and getting in and driving away, and he's like got the camera over there watching me, like recording me driving. And it took him until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He goes, "Listen, are you serious about this? Because I got to tell you, this is terrible." And I was like, "No, it's a goof, man. It's a parody." He was like, "Oh my God!" He was so relieved because he thought I seriously wanted to make a movie, and he thought I wanted him to help me make this dumbass movie. But I was like, no, I just want some stupid stuff I could stick in and cut up, like Daryl's running and he gets into his car and he drives away because like the smokers are chasing him. But that's my friend Mike, and he came with me to Florida on a road trip, and he was like, "Man, you had me going. I was about ready to punch you in the face." Someday I'll release that footage. You could see me, like, we found this one cool like lake with a bridge over it, and I'm running across this bridge, and then some teenagers were just like walking by in the neighborhood, and I had to like stop, and they were like, "What the fuck's this guy doing?" It was just funny stories from that, but you probably will never see that stuff. Anyway,
you got a lot of funny friends, man. I like your videos because a lot of times you bring in your buddies to the vape from the vape shop, you bring in your buddies for your juice reviews, and some of them are real fucking characters. There's that one guy that's kind of stocky and bald. He's a funny motherfucker.
Oh, Danny LaFaro, he's a professional comedian actually, and he is a funny motherfucker. He's got a dark sense of humor, and and so it's always like, I don't know if this juice company can handle a review with Danny and the crew, but let's see how it goes anyway. And sometimes they're like, yeah, that was interesting. And other times they're like, "Oh, dude, you guys are awesome. I'm sending you more juice." All right, whatever. But put it this way. For me, doing juice reviews, it's kind of like, I know what I like, I know what I don't like, I know what's good, I know what's not, and it gets boring after a while just describing, yes, we're going to vape another blueberry pomegranate with a little hint of acai berry. Haven't we all had that flavor many times before? And somehow this one's going to be different. It's good. What do you want me to say? Buy it. If you don't like it, well, you would have spent the money on cigarettes anyway, so don't complain. Go buy a different juice you might like. Doing juice reviews, the only way I can do them that makes it interesting for me to do and then therefore interesting for you to watch is to grab some people and change it up. It might not always be those guys. It might just be customers at a vape shop. I carry 4 or 5 different lines of juice that I'm supposed to review at any given time with me in my bag. And if I see the situation's kind of chill, like, all right, hey, you guys feel like doing a video? Are you okay on camera if I ask the questions and walk you through it? And if they're like very awkward, then no, we won't do it today. But if they're like, yeah, I'm game, okay, cool. And then, hey, you get a bottle of juice out of it maybe if I don't want people to say they like it if they don't like it. I just want their honest opinion of, and sometimes it's grisly. They're like, oh, I wouldn't vape that if you shot me in the head beforehand. So, you know, those don't make it to the through the cutting room floor. But it keeps it interesting for me. How do you do this day in, day out? Now it's a year and a half I've had a YouTube channel, and keep it interesting and entertaining and lively, and that's how I do it. That's how personally it works for me. But thank you for appreciating that, and when I can get Danny LaFaro, it's always great. It's not a guaranteed thing because people have schedules, and you know, people get tired of doing this bullshit too. Like, I have to mix it up and change around the vape shops I go to because they don't always have the time to want to like sit down and do a juice review. So
ask you what that's like for you, because a lot of your videos these days, you're in different shops. I really love that format. It's really unique. And it really gives your videos a real sense of community. Probably your videos are probably some of the videos that I get the biggest sense of there's a vape community out there, that we're doing this for you know, more than just, you know, an individual sense. You know, I really like that about your videos because it opens up a window to the industry in a way that a lot of other videos don't, because you go to those different venues. That, I mean, me, I'm just in front of my chicken all the time. Robbie is in front of, you know, his shelf and stuff. You know, we got you know, Pod is in his shed, and Rip Trippers is in front of, I don't know, whatever he's green screened himself in front of these days. Tina is in front of her, like, it looks like Claire's threw up in her room. I mean, we're all kind of in our own little bubble, except Daryl. Daryl's out there in the community, in the streets. You know, I mean, it's different, and I like that about your channel. But what's that like for you going, I mean, how far do you travel when you're going to these vape shops? I mean, what's it like for you when you arrive? Are they always welcoming to you? Or are they ever like, get that camera the fuck out of here? You know, what is that like, you know?
That's a good question. So to answer that, I have to kind of start with a little bit of a background. I'm married with 3 daughters. And we live with my wife's parents, my in-laws. We have a house in Pennsylvania. We moved back to Long Island, New York in 2011. When I lived in Pennsylvania, I have a 3,000 square foot house. I had plenty of man cave area. I could have easily, that place is awesome, 2 acres. There's a tenant living there. It's in the country. So when I lived in my own house, I had my own area, I could have done this easily, but I smoked. So like back then for me, when my phone rang and I was a mortgage banker, I pick up my phone, I grab my cigarettes, I grab my lighter, I walk outside to my side porch and I light up, and I was smoking. And I would smoke 1.5 packs, 2 packs a day. And my ashtray looked like a porcupine with all the cigarette butts pushed in there. It was disgusting. All right, so that was my life. Now we live here. It's not my house. I don't have a man cave. I crave a little corner, but like smoking inside is not. It's first of all around my kids. I know it's not toxic and anything, but still, they don't need to be subjected to my vaping. So when I used to smoke, I would go outside. Now that I vape, I can go in my garage, but you know, that's about it. So the only time I'm ever in my house vaping is when nobody's going to be around for about 4 or 5 hours, and that's what works for me. So if I want to record, if I want to do something, I got to be somewhere else. So that means I got to be at a vape shop. Also, I just love hanging out. Like, did you ever remember when you know, went to your local bar and they knew you and you could go there and you could have a couple, and you know, it's that comfort. And some vape shops, they have that feel for me. I'm not drinking. I'm not over there, but it's that still that community, that social aspect of it. Going to sit down, going to talk about this thing that we're interested in, and that's the hobbyist aspect of it, the community aspect of it. And I love the fact that that existed in vaping. And when I first started vaping, I was like, oh my God, am I even cool enough to hang out here? Like, I don't even know the questions to ask, and I don't know. I'm just going to sit here. I sat there like a fly on the wall, just listening to conversations. So, like, out of necessity to record video and do stuff, I got to be in shops. I can't wear out my welcome at any one shop because, listen, it gets to be a burden if a guy's sitting there too long. And when I do my bullshit, whatever I'm doing, if it's a build video, if it's going to be a show, it's still, like, it does disrupt the flow of a vape shop. So it's got to be short, sweet, nice, fun, and then leave before it becomes, when is this guy going to leave already? You know, he's going to start paying rent soon or get out. Nobody acts like that. Last year when I first started going to shops, like, I was always in these shops, so they knew me because I just would travel around. Here's why I went to different shops. I never wanted to look stupid in the same shop twice, so I would go to another shop and look stupid, and another shop and look stupid. And you know, when you're just awkward in the beginning asking questions, or you don't know the questions to ask, so I would mix it up. So no one shop got to see me all the time being a fool, and then I figured it out after a while. That's how I started, and I like the different personalities, the different, you know, the mix and chemistry of their local customers. Sometimes I'll see the same people who go to other shops, and you know, people will vape shop hop just to chill and hang out with other people. Every shop has its own, like, culture and its own feel and its own decor and its own vibe, and that's fun. How far do I travel? Usually within about a half an hour, 45 minutes, in my local area in Long Island. I have been known to travel to Brooklyn, to Queens, to Pennsylvania. I go to a lot because I still have a house up there. I still have a lot of friends up there, and I love the small, like, vape meets up there. They're they got a nice, strong, tight-knit community that's very supportive of each other. There's not as much bickering and infighting. And all right, but to answer your question, like, what's it like walking in there? Last year when I was first starting out my channel, yeah, there was some animosity. There was some, like, who does this guy think he is? Never to my face, but always, like, a little bit, like, I'd walk in and a bunch of people would just go quiet. And now those are like, oh, hey, we'd love to see you, come by anytime. Most shops are really cool. I tend to go to the shops that are more receptive. Like, if it's awkward and it makes them feel uncomfortable, I pick up on that vibe. I'm paying close attention to that. And I notice these things, so I don't try and overburden them. The shops that really like to have me there, I get that vibe, I go to them more frequently. When I stick a camera on you, you are less inclined to be rude to my face because I'm recording you, and guess where it's going? Fucking YouTube. So watch your ass. And there have been some times when I actually did embarrass people on camera because they were being total fucking assholes. But I did it nicely. I did it very nicely, and they know who they are, and they got to see, oh, shit, maybe I should be a little more diplomatic and polite. But now these days, my channel's grown. People are like, I knew you could do it. You know, or they'll be like, wow, I was watching your channel the other day, and you had a video that had, like, 4,000 views, and that was a lot. And I was like, oh, wow, you should see the one with 180,000 views. But, like, in the beginning, it wasn't a cakewalk. You're never a prophet in your hometown. How could this guy who used to be a customer and buying Nautilus coils, all of a sudden he's an expert? He's not an expert. But well, who is? I don't know if I had. So in the beginning, it was like, actually, I would just relate little anecdotes and things that pissed me off that happened at vape shops in my videos. So the people hanging out at vape shops that happened with weren't very happy. But in time, everybody got to understand this guy cares. He cares about safety. He cares about advocacy. He cares about vaping. I'm always giving away free shit. Always. I'm always giving away juice. All right, here's a guy over here. He's, like, run out of juice. He has no juice. Well, would you like a half a bottle? I mean, I know it's not new, but here, this is for free. I'll do that. I mean, how do you get rid of all that juice that you accumulate from? And when I go to places, I buy stuff. I don't just show up there. I'm not there to mooch off of them. They're a business owner. Do you know what I do for a living outside? Like, vaping is not a living for me. I'm a loan broker. I'm a small business loan broker. I am self-employed. I don't have a boss. I don't have employees. I don't work well with others. I know what I know. I know how to get it done, and I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it, and that's it. And so, like, I don't do well with management. I'm too old for that. So, like, that's my business. But one thing I do is I help small business owners every day. and I help them accomplish their financial goals, I have to understand their business very well. So I understand when these guys and gals and couples and families who have started a vape shop, put their life savings into it, me showing up at their shop, if it's not absolutely positive, I stay away. Because you ever notice if you're at a shop and you say one thing to a customer that sets them off, pisses them off, they're never coming back to that shop. Well, you just damaged that business. You just hurt that business, and that happens on a daily basis too. So like the one thing in medical practice is, I think it's probably a Greek translation. It says first do no harm. Well, when I'm hanging out at a vape shop, if I'm a negative influence or impact in that vape shop, that's the last thing I ever want to do. So if it's positive, if it helps, if people want me there, if they appreciate me, if it's going to be good for the shop, then yes, I will hang out, and I will record video, and if they want me to do stuff, then I will. But I always ask, and if I'm ever recording anybody at a vape shop, like a customer or anything like that, something's going on, do you guys mind if I record right now? Because some people don't want to be, you know, you'd never think about it, but somebody goes, well, I have a social service job, and I wouldn't want my coworkers and my employer to, like, see me hanging out here. That's true. So, you know, it's important, and I ask, so Robbie and Josh, thanks for asking that question, because these are things I actually have to pave the way for before I do these videos. I don't just show up with like all my stuff and all my glamour of YouTubiness. Now I go in and chill out and hang out with everybody for a little bit, and then I see the lay of the land, and if it's like going to be a good vibe and it's going to be a good scene, I ask, hey, you mind if I do? Because I always have in the back of my mind what I wanted to be doing and what stuff I want to get done. But I also got to see if the lay of the land is okay. And it does take a lot of effort and thought. That was a long answer.
That was
a very quick question.
That was a good answer. I think even expanding on one point you made that I found very interesting, because I volunteer at a vape shop quite often, is what you mentioned about talking to customers. And I don't think it's just restricted to YouTubers or reviewers or anything like that, because I think there's a number of customers, in particular the regulars who hang out at vape shops, who, for reasons I can understand, want to interject every time a customer comes in and want to talk to them and want to interact with them. And I think the reason why they want to do that, although it is, like you said, potentially detrimental, is that they just want to talk about vaping. You know, that's why I started my YouTube channel, was so I could find people to talk more about vaping with. And that's the whole reason I started it, was just so I could let out what I wanted to say to someone. And if anyone watched, it was great. And it still is that way today. I mean, I interact with all my viewers. I love my viewers to death, and that's what I get about it. But at the same time, when you're in a shop in that position, you have to be very careful about how you address customers. And the biggest thing I find that can turn people away isn't necessarily being negative toward them. It's actually information overload. The last thing people want to hear when they walk into a vape shop looking for a setup is, well, what kind of wattage do you like? What kind of ohms do you like? What resistance? What kind of coils are you building? Oh, you're not building any coils? What are you doing? What kind of coils? What tank are you using? What RDA are you using? What? And it's just like the customer's like, oh my God, what is going? I'm going back to smoking. Like, what? I can't do all this. And it just gets so overwhelming for them that they cannot help but just step back and be like, whoa, I need to reevaluate everything I just thought I knew. I came in here looking for a pen or something, and that's it. And now I have all this new information. I can't even buy anything today because I don't know what to do. And I think that's the biggest point. It's just making sure that even if you're not a reviewer, even if you're not, someone in the limelight kind of thing, and you're just a regular customer or a regular, I guess, you have to make sure you don't really want to put your input in until you've heard their side of things first. And that's what shop owners and store workers are really good at, is gauging. What's your story? How many smokes are you smoking right now? What brand are you smoking? What do you know right now about vaping? How can I help you expand on that? Not all at once, but just gradually over time. And that's one of the things you learn, is that when you are talking to a customer, it's about them. It's not about you. It's not about what you want them to do. It's about what they want to do and getting them off cigarettes, and that's the main thing.
Absolutely. It's not, the best vape shops that I've been in, what they've done is they've, interviewed the subject, the customer, about what their needs are. Are they just trying to get off cigarettes? Are they, do they know what kind of flavors they like? That's really just getting to know the customer right off the rip. It's what I find like the best shops do. Figure out how to accomplish their needs. What are they in it for? Are they just trying to quit smoking? Are they looking for the newest RDA out there? Are they still in the sub-ohm tanks? That kind of thing, and making those recommendations. They're just pushing the latest and greatest, box mod on them, the latest and greatest tank. I've heard horror stories about shops selling noisy crickets to customers without even telling them what this thing actually does. That it's a series mod, that you really shouldn't put anything over 4 ohms on it. I mean, people are being sold noisy crickets. They don't know anything about them. It freaks me out.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. So all these businesses are in evolution. They came from someplace, then they came into this business. Now that they got to learn sales. Now they got to learn vaping. I know people open a vape shop after vaping for 2 months, and they're learning and their customers know more than them. But that's okay. They can have a successful business and serve their customers. I know people who have been around vaping 5, 6, 7 years. They're like granddaddies in vaping, and they haven't learned anything new. And anywhere in between. Or the forceful, no, you got to do it this way because this is the way I like it.
Some old schoolers, they still just use, like bridgeless atomizers. Some people still use those things.
Hey, and if somebody's vaping that, and that's what they like, and that's what they enjoy, and they know that product, and they know, who are we to judge? Who are we to even mention anything different? The guy's happy. Oh no, you can't do that. It's all you gotta get on this. Leave the guy alone, man. He was happy before he started talking to you. And yeah, when customers want to interject and like be the most overzealous, helpful, unpaid, unsolicited advisor now, but like they're a customer too. So how do you put one kind of like nicely in check without alienating them? And not alienating this. It's very interesting watching all of this stuff go on. And the one thing I learned how to do very, very quickly was shut my damn mouth and just observe. Some stories are not mine to tell. Some situations are not mine to have to run in there and fix. In fact, it's not my shop. They're not my customer. It's not my business. Mind my own business, which is shuffle off to the side, kind of observe.
It's also respect too in a lot of ways. Like, I remember I was at this one vape shop. It's actually behind my house. Like, I could walk across the train tracks and be there. So every now and again they have swap meets, and I used to go to a lot of the swap meets. And I'd go there and I'd trade gear and do whatever. And I remember there's this one woman, I think that she's like kind of become like a consultant for a lot of other shops in the area. I still don't get that. But do you guys have that where you are? There's like vape shop consultants that run around. You guys have that?
To one degree or another, yes.
Yeah, I don't fucking get it. I really don't. It's like, and they're always really annoying, really know-it-all fucking people. I really don't like these vape shop consultants that run around. They really don't know their shit at all. They're really fucking rude. Just speaking from my personal experience, I haven't liked one of them that I've run into. This one woman in my area that's a vape shop consultant, I'm at this swap meet, and this kid, I don't know what this deal with this kid was, but this is back when I had like maybe 2,000 subscribers. Not very many, and this kid just wanted to hang around me the whole time. It was a little bit weird. It was kind of cute, but a little weird. And he was so excited to show me that he just traded for some 5 pawns. He was so excited about it, and I was like, "That's cool, man. 5 pawns is awesome." And this woman, this fucking vape shop consultant, looks at him, looks at me, and says, "I think 5 pawns is overrated." This kid is like so excited about his 5 pawns. Just shut up and let him be happy about it.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, it's funny you say that because I would almost say I'm like a volunteer consultant for one of the vape shops, and I don't mean that in like the way you're describing this lady, but I mean, one of the things I like to help out with is recommending what products are hot right now and what products are good to stock. So, for example, at the Vape Depot, I was the one who convinced them to bring in the Innokin T18s, and they have not stopped selling since they brought them in. I mean, they sell out at least their entire inventory of them every week. They have to do a new order, and it's just they keep on coming in, they keep on going off the shelf, and things like that. Like I'm not telling them how to run their business, but I'll tell them, look, I think this product's going to do well in here. Knowing the crowd you have coming in, this is going to be a good product. Same with the Z-Pal Coral tanks. I love the tank myself. I've had a number of people try it who want one. So I said, you know what? We got 10 people here who are regulars. They want them. No one else in town has them. Now's your chance to bring them in. Sure enough, they bring them in. They sell out. I mean, it's I don't know if I'd call it a consultant, but it's something that I like to recommend. If something's going to sell, then bring it in. I mean, based on my reviews and based on some of the stuff I get to receive, I'll recommend certain products that I think will do well given our regular customer base.
No, what you're doing is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. What these people are doing, I don't know, I almost feel like they're preying on local shop owners. Like, it's just odd. It's just really, I don't get it down here. It's like this one guy worked in this one shop for a few months, and now I see him at like 5 other shops in the area, and it's like they're paying him for his skills, I guess. But the guy just has a really annoying, grating personality. I don't get it.
I hear what you mean. I hear what you mean. And Nigel, by the way, no, I did not convince him to bring in an 80-inch TV. That was Jay's doing, not mine. Although it is pretty badass, you have to admit. Same with that massage chair. We're talking about the Vape Depot here in Calgary. The real Vape Jay, who's also kind of a semi-reviewer, he's the one who actually owns and operates the store, and great guy, and just doesn't have time to really go over everything, so you might miss something, and that's kind of where I step in and say, hey, I just got this thing, try it out, and let me know what you think, kind of thing.
I honestly haven't been to a lot of my local vape shops recently. I'm kind of sad to say that. I just haven't had much of a cause to go. I'm kind of an anti-social person. I'm the exact opposite of Daryl. Daryl's very social, wants to go mingle with people. I'm just kind of like, I like being in my bubble. I like my bubble. I talk to people online and on YouTube, and the rest is just me and my wife, and I'm in my bubble.
That's awesome, dude.
I've gotten turned off to a lot of the shops recently. I mean, I don't know. I was just in one not yesterday, like earlier in the week. I bought my wife the E-Leaf Pico or whatever. It's a cute little mod. Another thing that I won't review because I bought it for my wife. But it's adorable, and I bought that for her there. And I found it disconcerting that, you know, I wasn't. There was no mention of advocacy while I was there. There was, you know, I found that really disconcerting. And this is a chain with like different locations in this area, so they have everything to lose. But I'm not seeing the advocacy in there, and you know, I kind of felt like it was a little bit of a hard sell. I went in there for another item, and the guy kind of sold me. It kind of felt like a hard sell. I don't know. I wasn't too big of a fan of it. And you know, another one of my shops that I go to, all they sell is just really terrible clones, really bad, like FASTTECH crap, like the garbage from FASTTECH is what they sell, and their juice is reasonably priced, but their mod inventory and their RDA inventory, it's like 3 times the online price, which I just think is a little bit of gouging. I understand, you know, shops need to charge more to stay in business, absolutely, support the local shop, but 3 times the price? That's a little much. And another shop in the area is just filled with a bunch of stupid kids, stupid children. But yeah, I haven't been too much of a fan of the local shops here recently. So.
I see where you're coming from for sure. I mean, there's definitely different crowds, different stores, as Daryl said earlier when he was talking about that. You know, different you kind of get your groups that hang out at certain stores, and then you'll have another store that has certain groups there, and even different age demographics too. Like you said, there could be one store that is kind of famous for having a younger audience there. And the one thing about Calgary that I really enjoy is that they self-regulated so that everybody in there is 18. They're all ID'd. They're all made sure that they're legal age, no matter what store you go into, for the most part, with maybe one or two exceptions, which are kind of a little bit loose around the area. Like they're loose around the rules, but anyways, I mean, that's a whole different story. But again, I see where you're coming from. Like certain stores I like to hang out with, or I like to hang out at because of the crowd there, and then certain stores it's just, I feel put off by their business, by their customer base. And as you guys probably know, I've mentioned this a couple times, 95% of the stuff I buy is at a brick and mortar locally because I want to support my local business. But it's interesting you raise up the point about the one store not actually talking about the advocacy portion of it. And now that I think about it, not a lot of stores do here either. And I know it's not as big here as what is in the States right now, but it's something that really should be on the top of our minds. And it's something we should maybe evaluate stores by, is are they really pushing advocacy? Are they getting involved in it? Are they doing something? And there's a couple stores here in Calgary that have a UVRA, which is United Vape Retailers Association here in Calgary. There's maybe 3 or 4 shop owners who are in on this, who have kind of put out and have put together all this paperwork and have presented it to the proper authorities and things like that. So that's kind of where my stores are, just not really because of that, but it's just coincidence that the stores I find have the best service also have the most involvement in advocacy.
Yeah, Daryl just put up a video today, and I was amazed at how much that store was actually participating. I thought that was awesome what they were doing.
Thanks for mentioning that, Josh. It's that's something that I've started to focus on a little bit more since the deeming regulations. I actually did a video like last March with suggestions of what vape shop owners could do, vape shops, and it was out there. It was an idea. Pushing that idea on people at the time was a bit in your face, but now all of a sudden, hey, listen, it's time to get in people's face. I don't care if they like it or not. Thanks for watching that video. Yeah, it's something that I've been doing on my channel lately called Everyday Advocacy. Everyday Advocacy, and it's not. It's meant to instigate, but in a nice way. It's meant to say, here are some shining examples of what a shop can do, a little bit at a time, every day, every interaction, without spending your whole entire day doing mini seminars on advocacy. It's not difficult, and these shops have kind of like, they care, and they're willing to go and implement these policies in their shop, and it boils down. You can see that video. There's one I did in Pennsylvania. I had a lady from Georgia on my live show today. This is what they're doing in their shop to promote advocacy. The number one thing is, most people who hang out at vape shops, they already know about it. They're on the Facebook groups. They're involved. That's preaching to the choir. We don't need to educate people who already know. Then we're just sitting around venting and bitching. 90% of the customers at a vape shop don't hang out there. They come in, they buy what they need, they leave because they got lives to live. So they're not hanging out, listening. They're not on Facebook. They're not into the hobbyist end of vaping where they're on like social media and Instagram and YouTube and they're in on this. Most people don't know about this stuff yet. And a good example in that video that I posted this morning was a gentleman in his 60s. He smoked for 40 years, quit 2 years ago. He's a vapor. He doesn't hang out in the vape shop, but he's a loyal customer. For 2 years, he's been going in there ever since he quit smoking and started vaping. He goes in there every 2-3 weeks, gets his pack of coils, gets his couple of bottles of juice, chats with them a little bit, and leaves. Well, they recently started doing, they have this whole table set up, and they have all the CASAA consumer advocates for smoke-free alternative, all the information about the deeming regulations. And now they ask when somebody, are you aware of the federal regulations and advocacy? And if people say no, they've got the literature, well, all the stuff's over there at that table. So the employee doesn't have to spend a half an hour explaining it. Go over there, grab that literature. Next time you come back, you'll know. And by the way, we have these letters that you can sign, and we'll mail them out to you. They go out to your local state representatives. It's very simple. It's very quick. It takes less than a minute. And the overall customer experience is, I didn't know about this. Thank you for telling me. Now, and you've given me steps that I can take, something that I can do. I want to feel empowered, because anybody walking in that vape shop vapes, and they probably care about vaping, and they probably want to know if there's something. Look, if your friend's in a fight, do you want to know about it after he's in the hospital or before the fight happens? So maybe you can go over there and mediate, or at least have his back. That's kind of a bad example, but there's a fight right now. If you don't know about the fight, you already lost it. So what I'm trying to do is highlight and show, this is what one vape shop is doing. This is what another one's doing. And if you're a vape shop, can you do this? Can you do some of this? Can you do a little bit of this? And if you're a customer and your vape shop doesn't do any of this at all, well, ask them to do it. Tell them to watch this video. Not to get views on my channel, but see what other folks are doing. You're a business owner. It is possible. It's very easy right now in these times with advocacy. I hope you guys don't mind me saying this. It's very easy for us to sit around because we don't know what to do, to lash out and go, well, this guy should do it, and that organization should do it, and those people should pay for it, and then that company makes so much money, they should pay for it. That's finger pointing. Everybody needs to do their part. Just do your part. Join CASAA. Follow the calls to action. Robbie's in Canada, but you have equivalents. And would you agree, Robbie, just because this stuff's going on in the United States, you guys have advocacy issues and regulation issues up in Canada that at some times were worse than the United States. And only recently now we have these pressing issues, but Europe's had it, okay? The UK has had it. Australia has had it. We were just on with Vapin Bogan a couple of days ago, and LabWorks, Paul, down there in Australia, they can't even buy juice with nicotine in it. They have to buy concentrated nicotine and add that to their juice after they buy it at the vape shop, and it makes no sense whatsoever. It's not safe. Now people have concentrated nicotine at home, which is deadly. But the point is, the big bad wolf is going around huffing and puffing and blowing houses down. Just because he's over there at somebody else's house doesn't mean he ain't coming to your house next. And we can't all sit around and watch this stuff going on, because I think we did that for too long. And it happened in Indiana, and it happened in Chicago, and now some of these states, they're starting to get some balls behind them. They're starting to really feel like, oh, well, vaping isn't going to stop. You know, there's nobody organized. There's a couple of people with beards and a couple of face piercings and tattoos. They can't mobilize. They don't even vote. They don't even probably know where to vote. But like, what we got to do is change that perception and say, no. If you want to take away rights, if you want to implement laws, we're going to have a say in it as well. And it's not about kids in high school or junior high school, maybe potentially vaping and then smoking. This is about the smokers of the world who are going to die because we do already smoke and we want to quit. And so changing public perception and then also putting up resistance to these regulations is very important. And it happens every day, and it happens every time you buy and every time you sell at a vape shop. And that's where we need to focus. So, like, if I go to a vape shop and they don't do anything with advocacy, I love you, but I'm going over here. And even if you're my friend, I'm sorry, but there's a call to action right now, and we all need to do our part. And so, you know, get with the program, or what is it? If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Well, if you're not helping vaping and you're not talking to your customers about advocacy, you don't have a business. You're not going to have a business. You're just waiting on other people to do it for you. Okay, I promised I wouldn't rant. I lied.
No, I want you to rant. You're good. These are good rants. These are rants that need to be said. They need to be heard, man. This is exactly what we need to be saying. This is true. Yeah. No argument here, man. I mean,
but in
if
a nice and loving way, let me soften all of that up by saying, you're a business owner. If you're out there, if you're a customer going to a vape shop and they don't do these things, don't go hack at them. Don't go attack them, because you don't know what they're going through in their business. They invested their life savings so they could have their doors open, and they might have been eating hot dogs last night to feed their family just so they could keep the lights on so you can come in the shop today and not know. They may be hurting. So don't attack them. Oh, you should be doing. Hey guys, did you know that there's regulations and we need to do calls to action, and I'm concerned about that. Can you guys put some literature out for customers of yours that don't know? Would you be willing to do that? And maybe they've never been asked. Maybe they didn't think about it. Don't go into the hookah lounge that sells like a little bit of vape stuff over here and expect them to jump with the program, but they might. But like, be nice about it, be gentle about it, be loving about it. Okay, don't go in with your swords blazing. You know, ask, and that's all a shop can do for the customers. Don't feel like if you're a shop owner or an employee at a shop, don't feel like you got to spend an hour convincing somebody of something. Listen, all you can do is ask. If they say no, they say no. The next customer is going to walk in 5 minutes from now. Ask them, they may say yes. And that's one more person that's going to respond to a call to action, donate to CASAA, do the things that can be done in small ways. If everybody does their part and a little bit extra, we'll have enough money, we'll have enough attention, we'll have enough pressure on politicians. Politicians need to know, guess what, if you don't get with this program, you're going to get yanked out of office. Because we don't want you in the if you're not interested in smokers not smoking anymore, we don't want you in office at all. And that's the message that's going to get through. That's what the letter writing is for. The letter writing is more important than the phone calls. The phone calls, they're all necessary. Make the phone calls, send the letters, send the emails, respond to the calls to action. But be nice and nurturing about it, because let's also remember how long you've been vaping. So a year and a half ago, I was a smoker. Who the hell am I to walk into anybody's shop and start dictating terms? Just be nice about it. You get more flies with honey.
Yeah, I agree completely, and I think on that note, I have two separate things to add to that. The first one is I'm assigning homework to all you viewers out there. Go to your local shop, talk to them, ask them about that, and just like Daryl said, you don't have to be a jerk about it. Just ask them, hey, what are you doing for the FDA right now? What are you doing to help us fight to help us fight our rights to vape? What are you doing to help us right now? And just be kind about it. I mean, as Daryl put it, it's just some of these guys do have their houses on the line, their lives on the line, and some of them are eating hot dogs for dinner every night because it's all they can afford just to keep the doors open. And I know this from personal experience. I know that it gets hard for these guys. The markups are not huge. The markups are not as big as what people think they are, for the most part at least, at most trustworthy shops. And you have to understand that they have bills to pay as well. But at the same time, bring it up. That's your homework for tonight. Bring it up, ask them about it, and just see what they say. And that's all you can really ask, I guess. And I guess the second point I wanted to make, and this is something me and Josh have talked about prior to this video and actually to other videos we've started doing, we want to make Project FOG more about advocacy. That's one thing we feel we want Project FOG to be in the direction of advocacy for as long as we can see fit, and as long as you guys keep watching, we'll keep talking about advocacy, because I think right now more than ever it's more important than it ever has been, and we need to focus on it. Whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the States, whether you're in Australia, whether you're in the UK, it doesn't matter. Whether you're in Malaysia or Portugal or wherever you might be, just remember that we want to help fight this, and we have to fight it no matter where we are, because eventually you may think what's happening in the States doesn't affect you right now, but it will in turn. We're already seeing stuff in Quebec. We're already seeing stuff in Ontario. If you're already living out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about what's going on, and that's just in Canada alone. That's let alone the rest of the world that has their own issues to deal with. So if we all come together as a group and as a community and do what we can, then it helps us all out in the end.
Sure. And it seems like the conversation always evolves towards advocacy these days anyway. We just start out talking about whatever, and then it just moves towards advocacy. So just go with it. Daryl broke my heart a little bit before the show, because I've been watching the social networks all day, hoping, waiting, because Senator Ron Johnson, for those of you that missed it, basically he's like head of one of the committees at Homeland Security or something. Is that what he is? He basically asked the FDA to clarify a lot of the deeming regulations, and it sounded like it was a challenge to the deeming regulations and what was going to happen, and it sounded like we were really making some headway. And I've been itching ever since I heard that he'd asked them for this clarification. They set the deadline for today for the FDA to get back to him, and I've been itching all week for them to see what happens, to see what they say, to see what he does if and when they don't respond. But Daryl went and broke my heart a little bit before the show and informed me that apparently there's no real control over them. So that was pretty depressing. Thanks, Daryl.
I'm sorry. I'm not an expert. I am not. I'm not. And what I believe it was Stefan from Not Blowing Smoke that clarified, because a lot of people have their hopes up. And I was on a show on Friday night. It was a really good show. It was very salient. Had people from Canada and Australia. Vaping Bogan was on there. Adam Smith from down in Florida with Florida Smoke Free Association, and Stefan from Not Blowing Smoke. It was on Gizzard Stew's channel, and everybody in chat was like, "What about that? You know, that letter from the guy from Homeland Security?" And Stefan was like, "Unfortunately, Homeland Security doesn't, you know, have oversight over the FDA and doesn't they're not accountable." It was just kind of like him weighing in and asking the question. And I wish it had more weight. And listen, I hope there is a response. I hope it does instigate something. Maybe some more folks will start asking that same question. But from the sound of it, it was one of those, well, he just put it out there to, like, go with, you know how politicians can be two-faced. They go with, they play both sides of the fence and they see which way the wind blows, and then they're, oh, I was on this side the whole time. But they have that one over there just in case the wind shifts direction. There's a game. Politics is a game. And that's the way I understood it. So I'm going to be a politician right now and say, well, you know, if it turns out that there's a big response to that, then I guess I was wrong. And I told you that might happen too. You like that sketchy little fucking playing both sides of the fence method? But no, from what I understand, we can't rely and wait on, like, oh, he's the savior of everything. We can just sit back and, like, vaping's going to get saved. That guy already did the job. He asked the question. The FDA's got to respond. No, they don't. No, they don't have to respond. They're not required to respond to him at all. They could just ignore him.
You know, I might be crazy. Maybe I'm overly optimistic. These days, I feel like we're winning a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. I know. I mean, when I'm looking online and social media, I'm seeing a lot more things that have a pro-vaping stance than an anti-vaping stance these days. And that's what I'm seeing in the media.
More and more.
I'm seeing, you know, either both sides of the argument now, or I'm seeing things from a more pro-vaping stance. You know, maybe the tide is starting to shift. Maybe what we're doing is starting to pay off. But I mean, that's not an invitation to slack off by any means. If anything, it's just, you know, it should get us even more riled up because we're gaining that headway. You know, we're gaining that headway. It's that time where we need to push harder. You know, I think there was on Instagram. There was a big push for everyone to get on Twitter, and I don't have a Twitter account, so I didn't do it. But there's a big push for everyone to get on Twitter and weigh in on CNBC as to whether we think that vaping is more dangerous than cigarettes. And last I saw, it was showing that 70% of people, well, the first time I saw it, it was like 30% was that smoking was just as bad, and 30% were that vaping was better. And then toward the end of the day I saw it, it was 70% vaping was better for you. You know?
That's huge. Here's why. Twitter is a social media outlet that politicians pay attention to. News agencies pay attention to. They watch that Twitter feed because what's trending is what's important. The only thing that matters is what's trending. That's the truth. Even if it's a lie and it's trending, it becomes significant. It becomes important. But I think you're right. I feel like, I don't know if we're winning, but whatever we've been doing, we need to do that and more because it's having an effect. And at least one thing is for sure. In the real world right now, this thing is not going to get just swept under the rug, and that's that's the impact that's being made. These letters do have their effect. The tweets have their effect. Calling the White House, I really don't think did jack shit. That's just my opinion.
No, I actually got through to someone when I called the White House. I did. And they said someone was going to get back to me, and they did. Someone did get back to me and left me a voicemail with a scripted reply. That's what it was.
Thank you very much for your call. This is very important. We will be very, very sure to your needs.
Exactly. Pretty much that's what it was. So, I mean, really what it's about, I feel like what we really need to do is, appeal to politicians, but politicians already have money in their pockets. They got, they're reaching into Big Tobacco's pocket. Big Tobacco is reaching around, giving them a hand job. Whatever. We write your politicians. Make their mailboxes swell with your animosity and your ambivalence. Absolutely, that's very important, and it sends that important message that we're not okay with what's going on. But what we really need to do is change public perception. That's the most important thing, public perception.
I agree.
Totally agree.
And I think, like you said, we can't, two things. We can't put all our eggs in one basket with the senator there, because that just, we don't know if it's going to work or not. Let's keep on doing what we're doing, keep getting the word out there. And second to that is, again, you pretty much nailed it right in the head, but, even if we are winning, even if it looks like we're winning, that isn't a time for slacking off. It's a time for pushing harder. Let's push past this, and let's keep pushing. Don't give up now, or don't start, laying back thinking, oh, everything's good now, because it's not. As soon as we start thinking that, that's when they get us. So keep on pushing as hard as you can, and make sure that you get the push right. And I think the best thing to do, at least for this week's homework, is go talk to your vape shop. Go ask them what they're doing. I'm going to reiterate that, because I would love to see 100 people go to their vape shops and be like, because we have, you have to think about this. This is a great outlet for us on YouTube, because we have so many people from such diverse background from all over the country, and even all over the continent, and even all over the world watching us. And if we can help them out, and we can convince them to go talk to their local vape shop and get more involved, that's a huge win for us. That is a massive win. So I think that's just what I think. I think we should be pushing out. I'm going to be going to some vape shops here in Calgary to talk to them about that. So I hope you guys do the rest. I hope you guys, continue on with that momentum.
Awesome.
Maybe we'll head back to that vape shop that pissed me off the other day, and I'll talk to them about that. They have 8 fucking locations here. That's 8 locations. They're fucking cool. You're like the fucking Starbucks of vape down here.
Just in kicking around ideas of what can be done, I'm thinking of the vape shops that don't carry that, have that stuff. I'll go print out 100 of them and drop them. Hey, do you mind giving these out to customers, or at least put them on the counter? That's something that somebody can do. If you got a couple of bucks and you feel like itching, you can go on CASAA's website and print out all of this material for yourself, for other people. Print one out, take it to Staples. Toner cartridge is expensive, trust me. You can take it to Staples and have 100 copies run off. Stick that in a vape shop. If they're not going to do it for themselves, at least would you be opposed to putting this on the counter? Maybe some customers might pick that up. They are the front line. They are interacting with the most amount of people on a daily basis, I would say. And that's a grassroots effort that can really make an impact. Guys, I'm really happy to be on the show talking with you guys about this stuff. Thanks for allowing me to participate in this conversation. And for the folks I don't know out there that watch Project FOG that are seeing me for the first time, thanks for listening. I do tend to babble and rant a bit, but hopefully it was controlled. And I got to go back and watch the replay. Hopefully I didn't say anything too stupid. I talk from the heart. I was in sales for like 18 years, and it just, stuff comes out of me. But this is all on all of our minds, and it's very important to all of us. And we all, I believe, are looking for ways to take action and do something. And there are ways. There are very, very simple, easy, effective ways that you can participate and help and contribute in your way. Nobody's asking you to go and, cash in your savings bonds to vaping. That's not going to be enough anyway from you, not from me. It's going to take tens of millions of dollars. Hiring the right law firms that they're expensive. If they're good, they're expensive. They got to be tied into the political channels. They can't just be some this isn't hiring some kid out of law school because he's cheap and he's got his first gig. He doesn't know how to play the political game. Hiring lobbyists, and it's usually, a lobbyist is a law firm. Hiring PR firms. Look at what happened do you guys know how, not blowing smoke got created? It's because the state of California created an ad campaign. They hired a PR firm that came up with this brilliant, genius idea called Still Blowing Smoke. That accused, it put this big bash.
Commercials? Oh man, they make me angry. Oh, they make me so angry.
They spun vaping to be, oh look, big tobacco created this thing to trick you into thinking that there was an alternative, but you really got tricked because you bought it, you paid it, and it went into their pocket, and you went back to smoking, and vaping doesn't make anybody quit smoking, so they're still blowing smoke, and it was a very bad media campaign, but it was very effective, and it got the court of public perception thinking that vaping was just a joke, just a ploy, a trick. And so, all those smokers out there that saw this and believed it thought, oh, I'm not going to try that. It's a trick. The trick, it's nuts.
Propaganda. It's complete propaganda. That is, the Still Blowing Smoke campaign is one of the worst forms of anti-vaping propaganda that I've ever seen. And it's just blatant. And I think that that's what we need, maybe. Maybe we need our own form of pro-vaping propaganda. That's what we need to do. I mean, we need to change that public perception. Because, a lot of it relies on, a lot of the future of vaping relies on politicians right now, and how it plays out with the Cole Bishop Amendment, how it plays out with HR 2058. That's a lot of what the future of vaping is going to depend on, and a lot of those politicians right now, they might still feel like they have that public favor because they're doing essentially what the media has taught the public to want them to do. If enough pro-vaping propaganda can come out that changes that momentum in the other direction, that changes the public perception, then it would cripple that anti-vaping monologue, the anti-vaping speech against us. If we can cripple that, then we can cripple, the you know what I'm saying. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree, and I think further to that as well. I think one of the things we didn't really talk about, but I don't want to get too involved with, is the reason why we're doing this, the reason why we're talking advocacy. It's not for the right to vape indoors. It's not so we can go to the movie theater and start blowing clouds. It's to have our right as vapers protected to a certain degree, and I think to a reasonable degree. And I get so tired of hearing this all the time. Vape. I want to vape indoors. Why can't I do that? Why can't I go to my movie theater and just start vaping inside? Why can't I go to the mall and just start vaping while I'm walking around? And I think if that's the reason why what you're most worried about, you're in it for the wrong reasons, I think. And I'm just going to be blunt about that. I think, I'm not saying give and take, because with the government there is no give and take. It's just we take it all or we make a lot of money off it. But at the same time, I think if your reasoning behind where you stand is because you want to vape inside, or in some cases people even say they want to smoke inside, and it's like, come on, you got to get your priorities straight. And I think that asking to vape inside is just it's completely uncalled for, and I think that's part of the reason why the public has a certain perception of us, because some people out there, I'm not saying a lot of people, I'm not saying all people, but a very small percentage of people will go around blowing the biggest clouds they can in a shopping mall or in a movie theater or wherever, or in a bar or a restaurant even. And I just feel like, if you're going to do something like that, don't bother fighting, because you're fighting for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. really good point. I mean, listen, when you were a smoker, how long has it been since you were able to smoke inside? And now that you know that second-hand smoke is dangerous for the people around you, do you really even feel right about that? Okay, so vaping's not smoking, but the perception of, why are you doing that in the air I breathe? That's important.
That is exactly the public perception right now.
Yeah.
Because we're evacuating smoke, what looks like smoke, from our bodies. Therefore, we must still be smoking. That's the public perception. That's what we need to change.
The first time I ever saw a vapor was in a sales meeting with like 300 people in a room, and there was a guy with a little vape pen in 2009 vaping, and I was furious. I was so offended. I was like, we all are waiting for a cigarette break so we can go outside. Why do you think you get to do that in here? And like, I don't care what's in that. No, you don't get to do that because I don't get to smoke in here. You don't get to do that in here. But it is perception. I've walked around the streets of Manhattan vaping. People will cross the street. They're breathing like sewer stench in Manhattan and all that, the fumes that just like billow up from underground in Manhattan, the steam, and they're walking around and it smells like garbage most of Manhattan. But like you vape around them and it's blueberry custard. You should enjoy that, opposed to like the subway smells of Manhattan. But now people will be like, there. I think if you blew smoke in their face from a cigarette, there would be more accustomed.
Oh my God, Andy, no!
What is that? I heard there's formaldehyde. So that's the perception. So like, put it this way: we're chucking clouds because I'm here in my backyard. I go to a vape shop, I'll chuck clouds. But have you ever seen customers come into a shop and they're not, and they're new to vaping, and this is not like it's very offensive. It's very weird. All right, so I'm not saying change the way you vape in a shop, but like when you're out in public, have you just noticed that people look at you like you're a freak? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But you're representing vaping at that moment in time, whether you knew it or not. You're an ambassador. So
when I'm vaping in my car and I pass by a cop, sometimes I hold it down because I feel like I feel like they're going to think I'm doing something illicit.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. Same thing.
Yeah.
So
like
walking out and about around people in the general public, I may not walk around with my big rouleau with my 30 millimeter tank at 150 watts. Maybe I just walk around, and even this looks big and freakish. But like, there's some setups that I have that are little stealthy vape setups that, like the Nugget or the Mini Volt or one of those, and it's nice and tiny. It's not offensive. Yes, it means I have to change the way I normally like to vape, but I'm going to be around a bunch of people, and I don't care what they think of me, but I care what they think of the rest of you.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Okay, man, this is pretty. It's red. Look how red. And then maybe if I'm vaping, I don't go belching huge clouds in front of people who won't think that's the cool. You know, because if you're not a vapor, you're not going to come over and go, wow, you could have won a cloud comp. They're going to go, what the hell's the matter with you? So, you know, like, that's something we ought to consider. And everybody doesn't want to hear that, but everybody needs to hear that. What is the impression that you make? Because when you're vaping out there in public, you also are representing everybody else who vapes that people haven't met. They think we're all just like you. Do you want me representing you? You don't want me representing you in public. Be happy that I'm like stealth vaping like this. That's all I do in public. Yeah, anyway. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You're great. You're great. It's been a pleasure to have you on tonight, Daryl. We haven't talked in a while. I missed you.
Yeah.
Too long. Too long. Do you guys usually go like 2 hours, or how long am I keeping you?
No, actually, we usually cut it at about 11:30. So it's about time that we say goodnight to everybody out there. Hope you guys have a good week until we see you again. For those of you just joining us, I'm your OhmBoy Josh. You missed the show. See us next week. We'll be back. This is Project Fog. I'm on here every week with Robbie Vapes. Take it away, Rob.
Yep, Robbie Vapes, and just to reiterate, go to your local shops. I can't say that enough. That's your homework. I'm going to check up on your homework next week. Go to your local shops.
Where's motherfuckers?
And yeah, I mean, a big thank you for Daryl, Quest for Vape, for being on here. And I mean, I love having you on. I love talking to you. I love your channel. I love what you're about. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, you can rant and ramble all day long on Project Fog anytime you want.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And thanks to all of you that are watching and now live and also in the replay. It's a real pleasure. I've enjoyed getting to know you guys over the past year, and I look forward to getting to know you even more. We've never met. You guys are at a bit of a distance from me, but someday, some way, we will meet in person.
We'll all come together somewhere someday, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I'm marking on my calendar right now.
Very cool.
I'll bring my brother so he can ask you for his autograph or for your autograph. He's a big fan, so.
Thanks a lot, guys.
We're gonna vape it out. You gotta have a good night.